I'm Gabriel Morency for Sports Interaction. With this being the holiday season, I figured it'd be fitting to start off this week's video by talking about Tim Tebow's crusade to make us all believers. Now, I can't speak for the atheist amongst us, but I can tell you that I've become a believer. Now, the guy is 6-1 ATS since becoming the Denver Broncos starter. Now, it's hard to go against that. Now, it's hard enough to pick a winner in a National Football League game as it is. So, you know what? I want the guy with God on his side. I get the feeling that Tim Tebow's like Ned Flanders in an episode of The Simpsons. You know, it's tied 29-29. They're in Minnesota, and Tim Tebow just sort of looks up and says, "Hey, come on, God, it's me. It's Tim. Think you can help me out?" And lo and behold, God seems to help Tim Tebow out. So you know what? With no Jay Cutler and no Matt Forte and the Chicago Bears going into Invesco, I think the Denver Broncos are going to be in my back pocket on Sunday afternoon. Yeah, I know the Denver Broncos are only 1-4 ATS at home this year, but Tim Tebow wasn't starting earlier this season, and Tim Tebow did get it done at home against the visiting New York Jets. Now, Caleb Haney played his college ball in Colorado for Colorado State, but I don't think that's going to matter. He's really struggling without Forte. He's really going to struggle, as we saw last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Denver Broncos. Now, last week, I lost some money taking the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I'm a believer in Matt Ryan. I'm a believer in Coach Smith. I'm a believer in the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I believe that Michael Turner is getting up there a little bit. The dude's carried the ball a lot, and he's taken a lot of hits over the past couple of years, and it's starting to show. Nevertheless, the Atlanta Falcons are a good enough football team to be playing in the postseason, but they better start winning football games. They gave one away last week against a very, very impressive Houston Texan club, and you know what? I'm kind of kicking myself. I've been riding the Texans for years, and I've been losing money with the Texans for years. I've made some money with them, but I've been a believer in the Texan organization, and they've always fallen short. This year, their quarterback gets all banged up. I'm not sure. I thought Atlanta was going to get it done last week. They didn't. A sloppy football game. Now, Atlanta had their opportunities. They moved the football, but they shot themselves in the foot in the red zone numerous times last week. This is a must-win situation for the Atlanta Falcons. They've dominated the Carolina Panthers in past years, and, you know, Matt Ryan, he's only lost 19 games since he's entered the National Football League, and he's responded every time after a loss. Well, not every time, but 16 out of the 19 times. Matt Ryan is 16-3 straight up following a loss. I like Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons to get it done against the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Green Bay Packers, these guys are scoring more than George Clooney at an after party at the Cannes Film Festival. Now, the Packers offense is clicking on all cylinders. Interestingly enough, there was a lot of line movement earlier in the week in which money came in on the under of this football game. Now, people don't really know what to expect from the Oakland Raiders on a week-to-week basis, but I'm expecting the Raiders to bounce back and play better after the debacle in South Beach last week against an ever-improved Miami Dolphin Football Club. I'd like to take the Dolphins this week, but I won't. Michael Vick returns. Philadelphia's given up. You know, Miami is playing better football, but I don't want to go back to the well too many times with the Miami Dolphins, but I will go back to the well with the New York Giants. I love the over last week, as we discussed, and they didn't let us down. It was a great football game, kind of reminiscent of the Patriots and the Giants, isn't it? That, you know, despite the fact that the New York Giants have lost the past couple of weeks, and they were embarrassed by the Saints, heartbreaking loss against the Green Bay Packers, you know, they control their own destiny. They still play the Dallas Cowboys twice, starting on Sunday night. I'm going to be taking the New York Giants plus the points. There's something about Tony Romo in the month of December. He melts like Frosty the Snowman. I don't know what it is. Romo just can't get it done. The Dallas Cowboys, who ices their own kicker. Not only that, it was a debacle and a lot of mismanagement of the clock in the final moment of that Arizona Dallas Cowboy football game, but seriously. And I had the Dallas Cowboys on the money line. Little SIA in-game wagering. The Cowboys on the money line. Who iced their own kicker? That's like, being at your own wedding, and when they ask, does anybody have anything to say or forever hold your peace? It's like, you're getting married, and you go like, well, actually, you know what, I nailed a hooker last night in the hotel room, honey. You still want to get married? Who does that? Nobody does that. It's ridiculously stupid. People talk about Chris Webber calling a timeout forever. That was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, icing your own kicker. Why didn't you use the timeout to actually try to get a little bit closer to to the uprights? So maybe the kicker wouldn't have missed the kick the second time. But I'm going to be taking the New York Giants on Sunday night. All right, we got UFC 140. Now, it's very interesting for sports fans in Toronto. They're going to get to see something they don't see very often. A championship won, as John Jones will be defending his championship against Lyoto Machida. I like John Jones to get it done. I don't care that it's minus 550. I'm going to be taking John Jones, and I'm going to be parlaying John Jones with Mark Hominick. Now, for those of you that are willing to lay the juice, it's like minus 240, give or take, to parlay John Jones and Mark Hominick. I got a lot of respect for Lyoto Machida. But he's not beating John Jones. Mark Hominick is just too crisp, too precise, too sharp, and too dedicated and too motivated to lose this fight against the Korean Zombie. I think that Frank Mir is going to beat Nogueira, and I believe that Tito Ortiz has a shot against Little Nog. It's a tricky card on Saturday, and the matchmaker did a great job, as he always does in the UFC, because you can make a strong argument for basically every fighter, except, I believe, Machida. Now, one of the interesting props that I found under the little more betting is total rounds. You know what? I put some money on the over 2.5. John Jones seems to be fighting a little bit more cautious with each and every passing fight, if you noticed. And Lyoto Machida is an awkward fighter to begin with. I think there could be a feeling out process for the first round. Maybe the second round, John Jones increases the damage a little bit. And then in the third round, things really start to go crazy. We're looking at 12.5 minutes here. Now, not too many people can survive 12.5 minutes in an octagon with John Jones, but I think Machida should be able to take this into the third round, and I think John Jones is going to finish him off late in the third, maybe into the fourth, because as we stated, John Jones making big bucks right now. He's a Jackson guy, and that combination equals safe fighting. Hey, let's remember, be safe and careful out there. Let's do some safe betting and win some units, because it is that holiday time of the year. I'm Gabriel Morency for Sports Interaction. May the winners be yours.